Or did you ever have an idea and it turned out that somebody else had already done it? Take a quick moment. I think it'll add a lot of value to the next 10 minutes of the speech for you. Think of an idea you've had in the past, or something where you thought, oh, this would be a great business idea, or this could help a lot of people. Go put that, kind of plant that seed in your head throughout the next few minutes of the speech. And I think if you think about that idea you had, and you really dug down to the core of it, there was one thing that would stand out. And at its core, that idea helped another human being. It was helping somebody else. Next slide. And that's where, those tend to be the ideas that take off. And so, if I could basically, this presentation right now I'm calling it How to Turn Your Ideas into Profit, but these principles actually apply to any idea, whether it's an altruistic cause for a nonprofit organization or a business that you want to take off and launch. I would say that when it comes to ideas, the more your idea helps somebody, the more profitable it can become. I would link that in there. And I'm going to share 5 mindsets that can help with that idea, and then also a strategy and some examples. Next slide. The first mindset is, before you get started, to be smart about it. Run it through this filter right here. I know for me personally, from personal experience, I'll brainstorm and nerd out and talk with my friends, and I'll think I'll have the next great idea. And when I try to put it down on paper and actually pass this test, often it won't go through. This test alone will make it an achievable goal. If you can't pass this filter, it will force you to change that idea until it can pass this mindset. And once you have that, now you have a goal or a campaign that you can go run towards. Next slide. The next second mindset you have is your product is an obstacle. You might be wondering, Andy, what are you talking about? My product or my service or whatever I want to contribute to the world. It's not an obstacle. What are you talking about? This is the best idea I've ever had. How could it be an obstacle? And I think Steve Jobs was really good in identifying this. People don't go out to buy a new product, or they don't go out to buy a new service. It's the closest thing, the closest tool they need to a solution, to the ends, to meet some need that they have. People don't go out to buy an iPhone. They buy an iPhone because of all the benefits that it offers. So often, I know I've been in a lot of brainstorming sessions often, and we'll have the next great product idea, and we'll forget that, wait a minute, it's not about us, it's about the customer. For example, take Steve Jobs' iPhone. When he introduced the iPhone, it was revolutionary. I mean, it was probably a decade in front of all the other, decade in terms of the technology and design in front of all previous cell phones ever created. It didn't have the stylus like every other phone before it. It didn't have the keyboard and all the buttons. Because when you start thinking about just the product, it's not an obstacle, but you just think about the product, you start adding a lot of things to that product. But if you think, wait a minute, no, what does the customer actually want? They don't want to fumble around with a stylus, they don't want a keyboard. It will get you in the mindset to create a very slick design and a product that's easy to use and user-friendly, and really just sells itself. So thinking of your product as an obstacle will really set you forth the right mindset. It's an effective way to communicate with your target customer also. So this is a great way to communicate effectively, which leads into my next, or actually, yeah, next slide, actually. Don't be an expert, which is also counterintuitive. A lot of these mindsets are counterintuitive. You might think, wait a minute, I need to be an expert to be able to use my next best idea. Being an expert is fantastic for building credibility, trustworthiness, and having the knowledge to execute the idea. But in terms of the customer, the value is in being able to connect the benefit to a solution. So instead of talking about, oh, I have a PhD, MD, this and that, and talking about all my qualifications, if the problem I'm trying to solve, for example, is knee pain, somebody has knee pain, they don't want to hear me spouting off about all my credentials. They want to get rid of the knee pain. So it's great as a credibility builder and having the knowledge to solve the problem, but when it comes time to talk to the customer, they don't want to hear about the expert. They want to solve the problem. That's all they care about. If they're in pain, they just want to get rid of the pain. Whatever your great idea is. And basically, the more you focus on the customer, the more valuable your product becomes. So this is focusing on not being an expert and actually focusing on the customer. A great test I like to use is, I kind of just coined it the you-me test because I didn't think of a more fancy name for it, but basically if on a website, I can test the idea if it's on a website or a sales page or whatever. I'll look at the text that I wrote on the page, and then I'll take a separate piece of paper. I'll draw a line down the middle. On one side I'll put you, your, and all the words that reference somebody else or the customer, and then on the other side I'll put I, me, and then I'll check off how many times I said that word on each side, on each column. And if the words that I'm using on my website or whatever my product is that I'm advertising, if the words are me, I, me, I'm great, come up too often, I know I need to change the wording and I need to focus again on the customer. So this is a great way to communicate with your customer, but that's not enough. Next slide. The next mindset you need to have is to narrow your focus for that idea. The other day I went to CVS because I needed to get some new insoles for my dress shoes. And there was in the aisle there were like 20 different insoles that I could choose from. And the first ones that hit my eye were the ones that said dress shoe insoles. Right next to it were insoles. But and they were actually 50% cheaper, but the first ones I was drawn to were the ones that were narrowed down to the niche that I wanted. So the closer you can hone it in to whatever customer you're targeting is, the more valuable it is to that customer. I didn't want just insoles, I wanted dress shoe insoles. If you want to take surfing lessons in San Diego, for example, and you're a beginner, would you rather go to surfing lessons, or would you rather go to beginner San Diego surfing lessons? The more you narrow down the focus, the more valuable your idea becomes to the people around it. Next slide. And then the last mindset, which is everything is a test. Everything. Literally, the product, the idea. If you actually follow through with an idea from beginning to end to a successful implementation, it probably will take different paths and different forms and change as you go along. And you have to test the entire time to make it turn into whatever product or service or solution you want for your customer or the people you're trying to help. And the mindset to have here is that everything is a test. There is no such thing as failure. The only time it becomes a failure is if you declare it as such, because you have to learn along the way to figure out what works. And even if that lesson is, hey, I'm not passionate about this idea at all, I need to quit and do something else with my time, that's worth the lesson too. I mean, but viewing everything as a test will get the wheels turning a lot faster towards whatever your goal is. And so you might be wondering, like, how do you test your idea? How do I know if my next great idea is a profitable one? Well, and the good news is you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on marketing, and you don't have to create a product, and you don't have to just line up manufacturing. The truth is you can test it for free. Here's an example. Next slide. Can you guys guess which website this is? This is a screenshot I took from archive.org. It looks back on the internet, and I took this from a famous website today. It's from 2007, May 2007, and the 3 benefits it lists were how much do I spend eating out every month, or which credit card has the best rates and rewards, or how can I keep track of all my money and where it goes. And it says sign below if you want to, No, almost no. Sign up below to find out if you want to sign up below, find out when we launch the solution, whatever. And so they're actually collecting names and emails to gauge if people are even interested. If nobody's signing up and you're sending people to the site, your idea might not take off, so you might have to modify these benefits. But it's not making it about the product, it's making it about the solution. So next slide. This website is mint.com today. It's the largest free financial tracking software website out there that just was acquired by Intuit. Probably worth millions of dollars. It's one of the top most visited websites in the world. And just 5 years ago, it all started with that ugly Times New Roman font design for the sign-up page. That's all they did. They didn't set out and say, okay, we're going to build this from scratch. No, you don't want to test it here. You just want to test it with something quick, dirty, ugly, and see if people like the idea. If people sign up for your idea with an ugly Times New Roman font, it's probably got some value, and people want to use it. So here's an example of how something like that grew. It saves a lot of time, money, and energy, and it doesn't just detract from, oh, I got to worry about marketing and all this stuff. So, next slide. You might be wondering, so how can I test this? Well, basically there's 5 steps to that. Next slide. The first step is just create a landing page. This is just a strategy I came up with. It works really well. List through the top 3 benefits of whatever your idea is. What's the benefit that your idea offers to the world or to your customer? Then just add an email sign-up form. If you want a free one, here's a link to get a free email marketing tool. You just slap it on the bottom. You don't have to have any technical skills. They just give you the code, you put it in there. And then direct traffic to the site, either by word of mouth or marketing, whatever method you're most comfortable with. And then gauge the interest. Compare how many people visit the site versus sign up, and see if people are talking about it. And you'll be able to gauge completely for free if you might have the next great idea. And at its core, it's about helping another human being, or a large group of human beings. And so, I don't know if you guys, there's a question, for this speech, there's a question and answer section here at the end. I think I have enough time to do that. So if you guys have any questions about if you had an idea in the past before, or anything, feel free to ask me right now, because I definitely have some experience doing this. And it's pretty much this is the way you can launch a business, a product, a service. If it's a nonprofit foundation, you can launch it this way, and then test it to see if it's going to be an effective one before you actually do it. Any questions?
So, do you have your own, is this what you do as a profession?
I used to run a small software development company and web development company, and that's where I learned a lot of this stuff. I wish I had known this back then. I did not know that back then. But yes, I do this. I do test ideas.
And the way to go about it was just that previous slide. I didn't quite capture how to put that out there to the world.
To create a landing page. Actually, what you can do, it's basically just what a landing page is it's just a simple web page that you can just put up. You can literally Google how to create a landing page, because all you have to do is just copy and paste an HTML file. Have you ever worked with WordPress or anything like that?
I've been blessed to have other people helping me.
Okay, yeah. It's pretty quick. You can do it in like 5 minutes. If you just Google it, you'll find a solution for it, how to create a landing page. And that Google search will get all the results for you. Or you can just contact me.
Okay.
Yep.
So whenever you have a landing page, you want to make sure it's visible. You want more people to know about it. How do you increase that visibility? Like how when people Google it, you want it to be seen?
There's a lot of different ways you can go about it. Right now, for example, right now I could give a speech and then at the end say, hey, if you want to learn more, I don't, because I'm not doing a product here, but if I did, I could say, hey, if you want to, you could give a speech about your product.
And you're probably at a really large.
On a large scale, you could do, typically the 3 big approaches are pay-per-click, either like Google AdWords. Facebook ads are actually really cheap right now. Actually, I recommend Facebook because it's not as tapped of a territory as Google AdWords. Or search engine optimization, so when people type in something in Google, it comes up. Or just word of mouth and advertising. You can just go around and tell people, and then send them there and see if they sign up, basically. A good trick to do is to set up Google Analytics, which is completely free also. And then you can see how many people go to your website, and then you can see what percentage sign up, basically, from the visitors to the submitting of the add to form button, basically.
My question kind of is similar to Jada's question, but I'm just surprised that people will go to that website and will actually put their email for something seeming so ugly, and maybe something will never come out of it. Nothing will ever come out of it. So in reality, what motivates people to do that, to sign up? I forgot what the slide said.
Usually it says, well, it was like 3 benefits, right? It's like, do you want to know how much you spend every month? Or how much, it was 3 benefits basically. I'll go back to the knee pain example. For example, if you're in knee pain and you have something that says, do you want to know how to get out of knee pain quickly or something like that, sign up here for more information. We'll email you when we launch our product or whatever.
But if something like that already exists with a pretty page, what will motivate people to sign up with an ugly page?
Well, that's where the idea comes in. It's hopefully a new idea. Hopefully,
okay.
yeah.
So it's something
Hopefully
new,
there's no
right?
competition, yeah.